In the shadow of time, long before the world we know now took shape, there existed a repository of knowledge so vast, so extraordinary, that it defied the imagination of those who came after. The whispers of its existence have traversed centuries, carried silently through the echoes of forgotten halls and crumbling manuscripts, surviving in the minds of those daring enough to speculate on its contents, yet elusive enough to evade the grasp of the most determined seekers. This was no ordinary library, no mere collection of books and scrolls, it was a sanctuary of thought, a vault of forbidden wisdom, a place where the boundaries of human understanding were tested, and where ideas once considered impossible were meticulously recorded, preserved, and hidden away from a world perhaps unready for their power. Scholars, philosophers, and inventors spoke in hushed tones of mechanisms and manuscripts that hinted at knowledge far beyond the science and philosophy of their time, secrets that could manipulate nature itself, alter the course of history, or even challenge the very principles upon which civilizations were built. Every mention of the library is shrouded in mystery, the accounts are fragmentary, often contradictory, yet they converge on a singular truth: the place existed, and within its walls lay ideas that would have astonished, terrified, and transformed anyone who dared to study them. Ancient diagrams, meticulously crafted, hinted at machines that could harness the forces of the natural world in ways modern science still struggles to comprehend. Complicated calculations etched into fragile parchment suggested a comprehension of mathematics and physics that surpassed the conventions of the era. Maps drawn with meticulous care indicated knowledge of landscapes, stars, and the hidden currents of the world, as though the custodians of this knowledge had glimpsed the invisible patterns that govern existence itself. Some texts spoke of chemical compounds capable of astonishing feats, medicines that could heal instantaneously, substances that could resist decay, or reactions that could transform the elements themselves. Others described mechanical devices of intricate design, capable of precise movement and function that seemed almost alive, blurring the line between engineering and artistry, between science and magic. Those who wrote of the library were careful, often cryptic, as though aware that such knowledge could be dangerous if misused. They warned of minds unprepared to comprehend its contents, of the peril inherent in understanding truths that could unseat entire paradigms of thought. And yet, throughout the centuries, accounts persisted, fragments of letters, passing references in journals, stories whispered among scholars, suggesting that the library was more than a legend, that it was indeed a place of extraordinary wisdom, meticulously guarded, deliberately hidden. As time advanced, the physical traces of the library began to vanish. Some claimed that it was destroyed by fire, consumed by ignorance and fear, others insisted that it was concealed deliberately, transported to a location beyond reach, where only the most worthy or cunning could hope to uncover it. Despite the disappearance, the influence of its contents lingered, subtly shaping discoveries and inventions, leaving echoes of forbidden knowledge embedded in the works of those who never even knew its source. Certain inventions and ideas, so advanced for their era, appeared almost as if by accident, yet when studied, revealed patterns that suggested an unseen guiding hand, a hidden legacy of understanding left behind by the architects of the library. Even in the modern age, researchers occasionally stumble upon manuscripts, diagrams, or mechanical fragments that defy conventional explanation, pieces of a puzzle whose complete picture remains tantalizingly out of reach. Attempts to reconstruct the library's collection have only deepened the mystery. Gaps in history, lost references, and contradictory accounts ensure that any reconstruction is speculative at best. Yet the allure persists, drawing scholars, historians, and adventurers into a pursuit that transcends time itself, a quest to uncover the wisdom that once existed in its entirety. The very notion of the library challenges the limits of human imagination, asking us to consider what could be possible if knowledge were truly unbound, if the constraints imposed by fear, politics, or culture were removed, and if ideas too powerful for their time were allowed to flourish. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of the library is not only what it contained but the deliberate choice to conceal it, a conscious act of preservation through secrecy, ensuring that the knowledge would survive, even if only partially, through the ages. And so, the legend endures, growing with every account, every speculation, every fleeting discovery that hints at what was once real. The lost library exists now in fragments, in echoes, in traces left behind, challenging those who seek understanding to consider not only what was known but what is yet to be rediscovered, to imagine a world where ideas, unshackled, could reshape reality itself. Its secrets, still locked behind the veils of time, call to the curious, the daring, and the relentless, inviting them to follow the threads of history, to piece together a mosaic of knowledge whose edges are forever frayed by the passage of centuries, yet whose center pulses with the timeless desire of humanity to know, to understand, and perhaps to wield wisdom beyond comprehension. And as we ponder the fate of the lost library, we are left with questions that have no definitive answers. Where did it go? Who decided that the world was not ready for its truths? And most hauntingly, what might still lie hidden, waiting for someone to uncover it, to read, to understand, and to confront the profound and unsettling power of knowledge that refuses to remain forgotten? In this silence, the library lives on, not as a place, but as a concept, a challenge, and an enduring testament to the insatiable curiosity of humankind and the inexorable pull of the unknown. Throughout history, the allure of the lost library has inspired countless expeditions, secret societies, and solitary scholars, each drawn by the tantalizing promise of revelations beyond ordinary comprehension, yet each returning with only fragments, rumors, and unanswered questions. Some accounts speak of labyrinthine corridors filled with shelves so high they seem to touch the sky, of halls illuminated not by candles but by mechanisms that captured and reflected light in impossible ways, creating patterns that appeared to shift and move, almost alive, suggesting that the library itself was a sentient guardian of the knowledge it housed. Within these spaces, manuscripts bound in materials that defy decay were said to hold complex instructions for constructing devices that could harness natural forces, manipulating energy, gravity, and motion in ways that even the most advanced modern scientists would find difficult to replicate. Ancient diagrams depicted intricate machines whose purpose remains a mystery, gears, levers, and mechanisms arranged in patterns that suggest both artistic brilliance and scientific mastery, as if the creators sought not only to record knowledge but to encode it in forms that could only be understood by those possessing the insight to interpret them correctly. In some accounts, certain scrolls and tomes were described as being written in an unknown script, a cipher of symbols and signs that blended language, mathematics, and geometry, so precise and elegant that deciphering it became a challenge not of translation, but of cognition itself, forcing the mind to stretch beyond conventional understanding. Those who claimed to have glimpsed these texts spoke of ideas that could accelerate human thought, enhance memory, and reveal patterns in nature previously invisible, suggesting a science of mind and matter intertwined, a knowledge that threatened to overturn accepted reality. Over time, stories emerged of alchemical formulas, not merely for transformation of base metals but for substances with properties that could heal, protect, or even alter perception, blurring the line between medicine, chemistry, and what might now be considered physics. Other fragments hinted at astronomical calculations far beyond the capability of their era, tracking celestial bodies with unprecedented accuracy, predicting cycles of the stars and the movements of planets in ways that seem eerily prescient, as if the custodians of the library had access to insights that would not be rediscovered for centuries. Scholars speculated that this knowledge was deliberately hidden, protected from those who might exploit it for power or destruction, a precautionary act by minds who understood the responsibility inherent in such discoveries. As centuries passed, the threads of the library's legacy wove subtly through human history, inventions that appeared ahead of their time, breakthroughs in mechanics and optics that seemed almost accidental yet bore the hallmarks of prior understanding, traces of ideas that suggested the influence of a source long lost yet never entirely absent. The very notion of such a library challenges conventional thinking, forcing one to consider the delicate balance between knowledge and consequence, between the pursuit of understanding and the readiness of humanity to wield it responsibly. Despite repeated attempts to locate it, the library remained elusive, vanishing in the shadows of time, leaving behind only tantalizing glimpses, references in letters, enigmatic diagrams, and the occasional recovered manuscript whose origins could never be fully traced. Some modern researchers argue that the pursuit itself is as significant as the discovery, for the questions it raises, about human ingenuity, ambition, and the limits of understanding, are inseparable from the legend. Others believe that fragments of the library persist, scattered across private collections, hidden archives, and forgotten attics, waiting for a mind capable of connecting the disparate pieces, of reconstructing not only the knowledge but the vision behind it. Each fragment hints at a civilization of intellect and imagination, of thinkers who perceived the universe not merely as a backdrop for survival but as a canvas upon which ideas, innovation, and imagination could be fully realized. And yet, the more is discovered, the more questions arise. How much of the library's knowledge was practical, how much theoretical, and how much intentionally veiled to protect against misuse? The very act of considering these possibilities stirs the imagination, compelling modern explorers to ponder not only what was once known but what might yet be recoverable, what principles could be resurrected to reshape understanding in ways that would have seemed impossible to prior generations. This pursuit is not confined to dusty tomes and ancient manuscripts, it reaches into the very nature of curiosity, into the human compulsion to seek, to probe, and to comprehend, reflecting a timeless desire to transcend limitations and touch the sublime. The Lost Library, then, is more than a physical place, it is an idea, a testament to the ambition of human thought, a challenge to every mind that dares to imagine what could be, urging each generation to question, to explore, and to dream beyond the confines of what has been accepted. It is in this enduring pursuit that the library continues to exist, not as a static collection of objects, but as a living, breathing concept that influences and inspires, shaping discoveries in subtle and often untraceable ways. Even today, as modern technology allows for calculations, observations, and inventions unimaginable to the custodians of the original library, the echoes of their understanding can be felt, hidden in equations, design principles, and ideas that appear to emerge independently, as if the library's essence persists, guiding those attuned to its silent lessons. To speculate about its contents is to confront the very limits of human cognition. What truths might lie hidden, so profound that they would challenge the frameworks through which we perceive reality, and yet so elegant that, if understood, they could harmonize with the universe in ways both beautiful and terrifying. The Lost Library, with its forbidden knowledge, reminds us that the pursuit of wisdom is fraught with uncertainty, that the intersection of curiosity and power is a delicate and dangerous space, and that sometimes, the very act of seeking is itself a path to transformation, even if the ultimate answers remain just beyond reach. In contemplating the fate and nature of the Lost Library, one is left to wonder not only about what has been lost but about the human condition itself, the relentless drive to know, to understand, and to preserve knowledge against the erosion of time, and the realization that even in its absence, the library exerts an influence, inspiring those who dare to imagine, to reconstruct, and to dream of a world where knowledge, once hidden, might someday illuminate the shadows of the unknown. Its presence, though unseen, continues to whisper to the curious and the brave, a haunting reminder that some truths are eternal, that the allure of forbidden understanding is irresistible, and that the pursuit of wisdom may never truly end, as long as there are minds willing to follow its trail through the corridors of history and the depths of imagination. And so, the Lost Library remains, not merely a relic of the past but a symbol, a challenge, and a mirror reflecting the unending human quest to grasp the infinite, to peer beyond the known, and to confront the silent, enduring mysteries that define both knowledge and the very essence of our collective curiosity. The deeper one investigates the lore of the Lost Library, the more one encounters accounts of extraordinary inventions that seem to defy both time and logic, devices that blend craftsmanship, science, and imagination in ways that are almost impossible to reconcile with the knowledge of the eras in which they were supposedly conceived. Some manuscripts describe machines capable of precise mechanical replication of natural phenomena, intricate contraptions that could simulate the movement of celestial bodies or reproduce the harmonics of sound and vibration with uncanny accuracy, as though the library's creators had mastered the laws of the universe before humanity had even articulated them. Other texts hint at chemical formulas and compounds with properties so unusual that even modern laboratories struggle to recreate them, substances that could preserve organic material indefinitely, transform one element into another, or create reactions of such subtlety that the effects could be observed only under certain conditions known to the library's custodians. There are mentions of devices designed for observation and experimentation, instruments capable of magnifying and recording the smallest details of nature, capturing phenomena that ordinary senses could not perceive, revealing patterns and structures that hint at a hidden order underlying reality itself. Some of these inventions appear almost fantastical, suggesting technologies far beyond contemporary understanding. flying mechanisms, energy-conducting devices, and intricate automata that move with such precision that they appear to possess a life of their own. Scholars and historians have speculated that these designs were the product of a civilization with an unparalleled understanding of mathematics, physics, and engineering, a civilization whose wisdom has been scattered across time, leaving only tantalizing traces behind. Even more compelling are the manuscripts that hint at knowledge of the human mind and perception, instructions for enhancing memory, cognition, and sensory awareness, suggesting a science of consciousness that predates any formal study of psychology. The ethical implications of such discoveries are as profound as the technological ones. The library's custodians appear to have been aware of the dangers inherent in revealing such knowledge too widely, perhaps understanding that society might misuse these innovations, or that humanity might not yet be prepared to comprehend the consequences. This foresight may explain why the library was concealed, hidden, or even destroyed, not out of malice, but as a protective measure, ensuring that the ideas it contained would survive in fragments rather than risk annihilation through misapplication. The story of the lost library is intertwined with the lives of individuals who have, across generations, sought to reconstruct its contents, some motivated by curiosity, others by ambition, and still others by a sense of duty to preserve and understand the wisdom of the past. Letters, marginalia, and personal accounts reveal the obsession it inspired, the sleepless nights poring over diagrams and formulas, the painstaking attempts to decode ciphers, and the painstaking labor required to rebuild inventions from partial sketches or textual descriptions. Despite centuries of effort, the library has resisted complete recovery, as if intentionally designed to test the perseverance and ingenuity of those who approach it. Its fragmented presence continues to influence modern science and technology, sometimes in ways so subtle as to be unrecognized, other times manifesting in leaps of insight that seem almost preordained, as if the library's knowledge, though hidden, has guided human advancement from the shadows. For every manuscript rediscovered, there remain countless others lost forever, their content known only through references in surviving texts, or hinted at in cryptic symbols that have never been fully deciphered. The tantalizing nature of these glimpses fuels speculation, leading some to imagine the library as a place where the boundaries of possibility were tested, ideas that could manipulate natural forces, alter matter, or expand the mind's perception beyond the ordinary constraints of reality. The library's influence may even extend to the intangible, the philosophies and frameworks that guide thought, the conceptual structures that allow humans to imagine, reason, and innovate. In some ways, it is less the objects themselves than the ideas they contain that continue to resonate, challenging every new generation to push the limits of understanding, to explore the unknown, and to consider not just what is possible, but what might have been possible had the knowledge been fully realized. And yet, as with all mysteries, there is a haunting quality to the library, the awareness that even as we recover fragments and reconstruct theories, much of its true essence remains forever out of reach. The gaps, the silences, and the missing pages remind us of the impermanence of human achievement, the fragility of knowledge, and the delicate balance between discovery and loss. The lost library exists now in the interplay between what is known, what can be surmised, and what may never be recovered, occupying a space that is at once historical, philosophical, and profoundly human. Its story challenges us to consider not only the inventions and ideas themselves but the broader questions they raise: how knowledge shapes societies, how innovation interacts with ethics, and how curiosity and ambition can drive both progress and peril. Each fragment, each rediscovered manuscript, serves as a reminder that the pursuit of understanding is never truly complete. That every answer leads to new questions, and that the quest for wisdom is an unending journey, guided as much by imagination and interpretation as by the tangible evidence that survives. The library's enduring mystery continues to attract those who are willing to immerse themselves in the pursuit, to engage with ideas beyond their time, and to embrace the uncertainty inherent in exploring what was once considered forbidden or too dangerous to reveal. And perhaps therein lies the greatest lesson of all: the lost library reminds us that the act of seeking knowledge, of questioning, exploring, and imagining, is itself a form of preservation, ensuring that the ideas and wisdom of the past continue to influence the present and inspire the future, even when the full scope of what was known remains forever shrouded in shadows. Its absence is a presence in itself, a void that invites contemplation, a challenge to intellect and imagination, and a testament to humanity's relentless desire to reach beyond the known, to touch the infinite, and to confront the enduring mysteries that define both history and the very nature of understanding. And so, the Lost Library persists, not as a tangible collection of books and scrolls, but as a symbol, an idea, and an enduring force that calls to those with the courage to seek, the patience to study, and the vision to imagine a world shaped by wisdom that has yet to be fully revealed. Even as time marches forward, as civilizations rise and fall, and as new discoveries illuminate previously hidden truths, the library's influence remains, subtle yet undeniable, a silent testament to what was, what could have been, and what might still lie waiting for the inquisitive mind willing to chase the whispers of a knowledge that refuses to be forgotten. In the end, the Lost Library is not simply a repository of knowledge, it is a mirror reflecting the infinite potential of human thought, a reminder that curiosity is both a gift and a responsibility, and that the pursuit of understanding, though fraught with uncertainty, is a journey that defines the essence of our species. It is in the pursuit, in the questions that have no answers, and in the mysteries that endure beyond time, that the library truly lives, a testament to the unyielding desire to know, to comprehend, and to imagine, forever challenging those who follow to consider what might lie hidden just beyond the edge of perception, in the shadows of what we call reality, and in the silent corridors of a knowledge lost, yet never forgotten. As one contemplates the legacy of the Lost Library, it becomes clear that its true power lies not solely in the knowledge it contained, but in the inspiration it continues to provide, the questions it provokes, and the boundaries it dares humanity to cross. Every fragment that survives, every manuscript recovered or deciphered, hints at a civilization that understood the delicate interplay between knowledge, responsibility, and imagination. A civilization that recognized that some truths are so profound, so transformative, that they must be handled with care, lest they unravel the very fabric of society. The library's absence, its deliberate concealment or destruction, teaches as much as its contents might have revealed. The pursuit of wisdom is inseparable from the understanding of its consequences, and the act of guarding knowledge may itself be a higher form of enlightenment. Explorers and scholars, historians and inventors, drawn by the whispers of the library, often find that the journey is more revealing than the destination. In the act of searching, of piecing together fragments from across time, they encounter not only the ingenuity of those who came before but the limits of their own understanding, and the boundless potential of human curiosity. Tales of the library's contents, devices that could manipulate energy, formulas that could alter perception, manuscripts that encoded truths too vast for ordinary comprehension, continue to inspire modern innovation, suggesting that even in its absence, the library exerts influence over the trajectory of human thought, guiding those attuned to its echoes toward discoveries that would otherwise remain unseen. Some claim that traces of its knowledge appear in the most unexpected places, in inventions decades ahead of their era, in scientific insights that emerge simultaneously across disparate regions, and in the subtle philosophies embedded within works of art, literature, and architecture, as though the library's wisdom was never truly lost but dispersed like seeds, awaiting fertile minds to nurture and cultivate them. And yet, the questions persist: what else might it have contained? What truths, if revealed, could have altered the course of history? Could the knowledge once preserved within its walls have prevented conflicts, advanced civilization, or reshaped the understanding of the universe itself? These are questions that may never be answered, for the library's ultimate fate remains a mystery, its corridors silent, its contents hidden beyond reach. Some believe it was destroyed, a casualty of time, ignorance, or deliberate erasure. Others maintain that it survives in secret, concealed in remote locations, waiting for the mind capable of comprehending it fully. Scholars continue to search, tracing faint references, decoding cryptic symbols, and reconstructing fragmented designs, each effort a step closer to understanding, yet each step revealing the vastness of what remains unknown. The Lost Library, in this sense, is a mirror reflecting the human condition, our insatiable curiosity, our drive to explore, understand, and create, and our simultaneous inability to fully grasp the scope of knowledge that lies just beyond our reach. It embodies the tension between discovery and restraint, between the allure of forbidden understanding and the prudence demanded by its power. And it reminds us that the pursuit of wisdom is never truly complete. In its silence, the library speaks volumes, challenging each generation to consider not only the nature of knowledge but the responsibilities that accompany it, urging us to question what we seek, why we seek it, and what we are prepared to do with the truths we uncover. Its mystery endures as both a warning and an inspiration, a warning that some knowledge may be too potent to wield lightly, and an inspiration that even fragments of understanding can illuminate paths previously unimagined. The legacy of the library is therefore not contained merely in its missing volumes or the inventions it hinted at, but in the very act of pursuit, the relentless search for understanding that defines human endeavor, the imaginative leaps that shape science, art, and philosophy, and the recognition that the unknown is both a challenge and a guide. And so, the lost library remains, existing not solely in physical form, but in the collective consciousness of those who dare to dream beyond the boundaries of the known, to imagine the impossible, and to seek answers in places where none may yet exist. Its influence stretches across centuries, inspiring minds to innovate, question, and explore, leaving an indelible mark on the arc of human thought, even as the details of its existence remain obscured. Every recovered manuscript, every fragment, every rumor, serves as a reminder of what was, what could have been, and what might still lie waiting, beyond the veil of history, in shadowed rooms, hidden chambers, or forgotten attics. In pondering the lost library, one confronts the profound truth that knowledge is never truly static, that the pursuit of understanding is a journey without end, and that the echoes of extraordinary wisdom, once captured, can resonate across time in ways that defy the constraints of mortality, circumstance, and memory. It exists as a testament to human ingenuity, imagination, and the eternal desire to push beyond limits, a silent challenge to every mind willing to follow the trail, to question, to imagine, and to wonder. And perhaps that is its most enduring secret, that the lost library, though absent in form, lives perpetually in the pursuit itself, in the questions we ask, the ideas we conceive, and the knowledge we strive to uncover. Its corridors may be empty, its halls silent, but in the hearts and minds of those who seek, it thrives, whispering its timeless invitation to explore the unknown, to embrace curiosity, and to recognize that the most profound truths are often those that remain just out of reach, forever beckoning us toward discovery, reflection, and the infinite possibilities of understanding. The lost library, enigmatic and unyielding, endures as a symbol of both what has been lost and what continues to inspire, a haunting reminder that the quest for knowledge is endless, that the mysteries of the past can shape the present and future, and that the human spirit, driven by curiosity and imagination, will never cease in its pursuit of what lies hidden, waiting, and eternal, just beyond the veil of what we know. And so, the story of the lost library remains incomplete, a question without answer, a shadow without source, yet its presence is undeniable, its call irresistible, and its legacy eternal, existing forever in the silent spaces between knowledge and mystery, in the hearts of those who dare to seek, and in the enduring echo of a wisdom that refuses to be forgotten.